All right, so this is the beginning intro of the X and Y intercepts. All right, so looking at this right here, the pretty simple, you can read the definitions up here of the X and Y intercepts. Okay, the point at which the line intersects the X-axis, point at which line intersects the Y-axis. So in caveman terms, the X-intercept is where the graph or line hits the X-axis, which would be right here. So if you counted to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, your X-intercept would be 8. And for the Y-intercept, it's the same thing. It's where your graph or line actually hits the Y-axis, which is right here. So you would count up on this one, you would count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it just so happens to also be 8 on this one right here. All right, now to find the X-intercept, okay, this would be mathematically or algebraically, real simple. You plug 0 in for Y and solve. All right, and then it's the same thing for the Y-intercept, it's just opposite. You're going to plug 0 in for X and solve. All right, so that's how you find them algebraically. Now I'm going to show you with this equation, y equals 3x plus 6. Okay, and then I'm going to show you a shortcut. All right, so if you're finding the X-intercept, okay, first of all, what needs to happen is, in order to find the X and Y intercepts, you want the equation in standard form, okay? Meaning x plus y equals a number. Well, it's really simple to do that. It only takes one move. So how you do that is you take the x, move it to the front, and change the sign. The reason I put a plus in front of that y is because it's positive, okay? That way it separates the x and the y. So now you're in standard form. So now if I go by what it actually says here, plug 0 in for y to find the x-intercept. So if I plug 0 in for y, so I'll make an x-intercept category and a y-intercept category, all right? So I'm going to plug 0 in for y. So right straight plug in right here. All right. And then if I want to find the y-intercept, I plug 0 in for x. Like so. And then solve. So if I was to subtract over 0, I'm not really doing anything. So negative 3x equals 6. Divide by negative 3. X equals negative 2. And then here, negative 3 times 0 is 0. And then once again, if I subtract over 0, I'm not doing anything. So your answer is y equals 6. Now, that's the long version, okay? The short version of doing this is much faster, right? So I'm going to take my standard form equation that I just got. Now you can see right here, having worked it out, every time I plug in 0 when I'm solving for an intercept, it basically makes that letter that I plugged it in for irrelevant. Okay, so like when I solve for the x-intercept, I plugged the 0 in for y. And then when I told you you subtract over 0, you're not really doing anything. Well, the y right here essentially becomes irrelevant in the equation to solve for the x-intercept. And then vice versa. When you go over here, the y-intercept, I plug 0 in for x and multiply, it becomes 0, and then I try to subtract it to the other side, well, x becomes irrelevant too for the y-intercept. All right, so if the intercept that you're solving for, if you're plugging in 0 and the other letter becomes irrelevant, then the shortcut would be just to take out that letter altogether. And I'm going to show you that right here. So if I want to solve for the x-intercept and the y-intercept to make it shorter, okay, in order to solve for the x-intercept, I'm going to take the y completely out. And then if I'm going to solve for the y-intercept, I'm going to take the x completely out and solve for both. Well, this one I just need to divide, and you can see I get the same answer. This one already gives me the answer. Okay, that's just a much quicker and shorter version of finding the intercepts, and that's what you're going to see me do throughout the video. Okay, so I'm going to start on 4 through 6, okay, because technically 1 through 3 and 4 through 6 should be interchanged, meaning the 4 through 6 should actually be 1 through 3. All right, so right here, it's looking for the x and y intercept. All right, so on this right here, what I need to do is I need to take the y out. There it is. There's my x-intercept. Okay, then I need to find the y-intercept, take the x out. Here, I don't want negative y, so I'm going to divide by -1, so y is going to equal -2. So my answer would be x equals 2, y equals -2. Okay? Now, number 5. Okay? On this right here, so same thing. I'm solving for the y-intercept, so I'm going to take the x out. I'm solving for the x-intercept, so I'm going to take the y out. Now I'm going to solve for the y-intercept. I'm going to take the x out. And then solve. Real simple. Okay, so here, x would equal 4. Here, y would equal -6. So 4 and -6, like so. All right? Number 6. Once again, if I'm solving for the x-intercept, I'm going to take the y out. So 8x equals -10. If I'm solving for the y-intercept, I'm going to take the x out, like so, and solve for both. Right here, -10 divided by 8 reduced would be -5/4. And then divide here, y would equal -1. All right? So my answers would be -5/4 and -1. Now, coming back over here, 1 through 3. On this right here, okay, these are in slope-intercept form. So what you have to do is you actually have to put these in standard form first. So here we're going to take the x, move it to the front, and change the sign, like so. Now it's in standard form. For the x-intercept, take the y out, and actually you have your answer. For the y-intercept, take the x out, and you have your answer. Pretty simple problem here. Both of them are 5. Number 2. So same thing. We need to put this in standard form. So we're going to take the x, move it to the front, and change the sign. Now we're in standard form. Okay? To find the x-intercept, we're going to take the y out, so -1/2x equals -8. And for the y-intercept, we're going to take the x out. All right, so that would be y equals -8. Well, we've already got one answer right here, the y equals -8. So that's pretty simple. We actually have to solve right here. So here we would actually divide by -1/2. and we get negative over negative, which is a positive. Now, if you don't have if you have a calculator, just divide this out. Okay, negative 8 divided by negative 1/2. If you don't have a calculator, then essentially what you do is when you divide by a fraction, what you do is you actually flip the fraction over and multiply. And then obviously 8 is a whole number, so 1 is understood to be on the bottom. Negative 8 times negative 2, okay, your x-intercept is going to be positive 16. All right? So now, last one, okay, right here. So again, we need to put it in standard form. So we're going to take the x, move it to the front, and change the sign. So positive 4 over 3x plus y equals 2. So now looking for the x-intercept, okay, we take out the y. Looking for the y-intercept, we're going to take out the x. So for the y, we've already got our answer, just like the last one. And then for the x, once again, you're going to divide by 4/3. If you don't have a calculator, then you're just going to take it, flip it over, and multiply. So here we would get 6 over 4, okay? And then if you reduce that, it's 3 over 2. So your x-intercept would be 3 over 2. All right? So that's the first part of the intro notes. Now, graphing. Okay? So on this, we're going to put all the concepts together, and then we're going to go ahead and graph it. All right? So on this right here, first thing, find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So first, we need to find the x-intercept. So take the y out. Well, there's our answer. Now we need to find the y-intercept. So take the x out. And there's our answer. So we actually have, right off the bat, the x and the y. So now we just plot them. X equals 3, so plot 3 on the x-axis. Y equals 3, so plot 3 on the y-axis. And there's our intercepts, and then all we need to do is draw our line, like so. Next one, okay, we actually kind of have to solve for this one, all right? So number 8, looking for the x-intercept, all right? So I'm going to take the y out. So negative 4x equals 20. Divide by negative 4, x equals negative 5. All right, so I'm going to plot negative 5 on the x-axis. Now we're going to look for the y-intercept. Okay, so now we're going to take the x out. Divide by 5, y equals positive 4. So we're going to plot positive 4 on the y-axis. And then draw our line. Like so. All right. Number 9 on this one right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is same thing, looking for the x-intercept. So we're going to take the y out. So 9x equals 45. Divide by 9. X equals 5. Going to look for the y-intercept. So we're going to take the x out. Okay, so let me make this category again. So the y-intercept. So let's take the x out. So negative 15y equals 45. Divide by negative 15. Y equals negative 3. All right. So plot 5 on the x-axis. And negative 3 on the y-axis. And then draw your line. So we are solving for and plotting the x and y intercept. Last one on this one right here. Okay. This one's a little different, so make sure you pay attention, number 10. Okay, the process does not work any differently. So if we're looking for the x-intercept, we're going to take the y out. Now, 7 over 2, if you're plotting an intercept on a graph, which is what we're getting ready to do, you don't want a fraction. You actually want to go ahead and divide 7 over 2 and get a decimal. So that's going to be 3.5. All right, so we're going to plot 3.5 on the x-axis, and that's really simple. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the right 3, like that, and then just go a half, like this. So there's your 3.5, like so, and then we don't need those marks anymore. Okay, and then for the y-intercept, okay, we're going to take the x out, and then we just divide by -1. So y equals -7. So we're going to plot -7 on the y-axis right here, and then draw our line like so. And that would be the intro, okay, for the notes for the x and y intercept.